All right. So thank you for joining for our Leap Venture Studio informational webinar. If we haven't met before, my name is Isabel Havens. I work for Michelson Found Animals, and I'm our Leap Program Manager. And I'm joined today by Rachel Sheppard from Mars Petcare and Dylan Boyd from RGA Ventures. And I'll make sure they have more time during the presentation to introduce themselves as well. Actually, why not right now? Rachel, do you want to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. So hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Rachel Sheppard. I'm the Director of Ventures at Mars Petcare. I've been in this role just about 11 months now. I'm very excited to continue to get to work with all of the wonderful pet care startups that we meet all of the time. My background is partially in veterinary medicine and partially working with startups, industry agnostic all over the world. So very excited to meet you all and learn more about your companies.
Hi, I'm Dylan Boyd from RGA Ventures, partner with Michelson Mars Petcare. I've been here the longest now. Rachel said 11 months. I've been excited to have Rachel on. It feels like she's been here for a long time in a great way. I've been here 5 years, working across LEAP in the last 5 cohorts, and very excited about Cohort 6 in Europe.
Awesome. So today's presentation will be about 30 minutes. I think we'll go through it a little bit quicker than that. And then, like I mentioned, we'll have time for a Q&A. For now, please stay muted and ask questions during the presentation in the chat window, and we'll do our best to address them. And again, we'll have time at the end to go through them as well. So to get started, we're just going to talk at a higher level about LEAP generally. So like Dylan mentioned, he's been here 5 years. So LEAP was founded in early 2018, seeing the emergence of companies in the pet care space and seeing that there were few platforms and ways for these startups to get invested. So LEAP was one of the first programs designed to ignite meaningful growth across the pet startup ecosystem. And it is a partnership between Kinship, which is a part of Mars Petcare, and Michelson Found Animals to foster innovation in this space. So we have 2 programs through LEAP. The first is our LEAP Venture Academy, which includes webinars and office hours, pitch competitions. We have a fellowship program for female and POC founders, and then general access to mentors, advisors, and funding. And then we have our LEAP Venture Studio, which you're all here today to learn more about, which includes 6 to 8 startups per cohort, and it's a 12-month program. And our next one is this fall, focused on the European pet care market. So like I mentioned, it's a partnership between Michelson Found Animals and Mars Petcare. I'll talk briefly about Michelson Found Animals. We are an animal welfare nonprofit that operates a wide range of programs. We're based out of Los Angeles, but we work nationally and globally. And we have social enterprises. We had a national pet microchip registry and other social enterprise operations within Los Angeles. We do philanthropic investments and strategic initiatives to make sure that we champion pets at every point they intersect with our society. A couple quick facts about Michelson Found Animals. We've raised over 7.4 million through our Saving Pets Challenge. Like I mentioned, we had the first free national pet microchip registry. We had over 25,000 pet adoptions out of our shelter locations in Los Angeles. And we've given away 10 million in grants for surrender prevention, spay, neuter, and related programs. And another one of our big programs is funding scientific research projects. And to this date, we've funded 37. And now I'll pass it over to Rachel to talk about Mars Petcare.
Yeah, so you may have run into one of our brands or heard of us before. So Mars Petcare is the world's leading pet nutrition and healthcare business. As Isabel mentioned, Kinship earlier, Kinship is one of our divisions. So Mars Petcare has 4 wonderful divisions, Kinship being one of them, Royal Canin being another. That's our science-based pet nutrition brand. We also have pet nutrition as a whole, which has wonderful and very well-known brands like Pedigree and Iams, Whiskas, Greenies, for example. And then, of course, we have Mars Veterinary Health, which includes Banfield, VCA, Blue Pearl, Linnaeus, and many others. We have 44 total brands in our portfolio. 60% of the dogs and cats in the developed world are fed by our products, and we have over 70,000 associates guiding our purpose. That number is actually growing, and I think it's very close to 100,000 now. And so we're very excited to be here to, really sort of foster the future of pet care as much as we can, and to really help pet care startups, learn and grow as we have this big reach across the world. I want to talk a little bit more too about Leap Venture Academy. So as Isabel mentioned, we have 2 tiers of programs where we help pet care startups. The earliest of which is Leap Venture Academy. So Leap Venture Academy is really there to help foster the earliest stage of pet care startup growth. And that's through mentorship, guidance, and programming. So we do that in a variety of different ways. But we're really kind of helping you focus and sort of support these very early stage issues that you might have as a pet care startup, whether that's understanding and adapting your business model to the current climate or changing environment, whether it's getting access to early stage capital and figuring out how to best access that capital. If it's just general mentorship or go-to-market strategies, networks, teams, we're here to help and support in as many ways as we can. And we do that through a couple of different types of programming. And to actually reiterate a little bit more, one of the things that we really want to focus on through the Leap Venture Academy is this early stage category. So that is defined as anyone who has an idea, an MVP, or even some early revenue and has possibly even raised, some angel money or some friends and family money, and is now looking to get ready for Leap Venture Studio, or get ready for later stage programming or fundraising in general, right? We're here to help everybody, not necessarily just people who are looking at our studio. And so we're here to make things happen for you at the earliest of stages. So the different types of programming that we offer, we have different pitch competitions at major conferences we put on. We put on virtual webinars and office hours throughout the year as well. We have our Slack channel with over 1,100 members in it from around the world now, which is really exciting. And then we also have, sort of our pre-accelerator communities, our pre-accelerator activities, which include our fellowship program that we're running in Europe. That is actually happening in Europe in 2 weeks. And so we're working with 10 early stage pet care companies in that program, all of whom are underrepresented founders. We're bringing them together and to meet some of our pet care thought leaders and to get to know some more people within the pet care ecosystem and help them with their early business strategy. So that's something we do every year for early stage companies. This particular program is focused in Europe, and of course we've done global programs in the past as well. To date, we've helped over 43 companies through our early stage programs like fellowships and boot camps. And then I don't know the number of how many other companies we've talked to through our greater pitch competitions and webinars, but I guarantee you that number is somewhere in the thousands at this point, probably including the 1,100 members on the Slack group.
All right, now we're going to talk about the Leap Venture Studio, which you're all here to learn more about. So like you probably know and have heard already, we are the first startup-centric accelerator program built to springboard innovation in the growing pet ecosystem. It is a hybrid in-person and virtual programming for 12 weeks. So far, we've had 33 startups go through this program across 5 cohorts since 2018, and is a partnership between Michelson Found Animals, Mars Petcare, and RGA Ventures. And the next program, which the applications are open now for, will be September through December of this fall, focused on the European pet care market. So now I'm going to have Dylan introduce RGA Ventures a little bit more.
Hi, I'm Dylan Boyd, Managing Director at RGA Ventures. RGA Ventures is part of RGA, which is a interactive design and branding company. We are a global organization with 18 offices across 12 countries, and a lot of team members for our agency. We're part of a larger publicly traded holding corporation called Interpublic Group, which owns about 100 agencies and businesses around the world, like RGA. RGA As you can see on the right-hand side, works with a lot of major brands. We work with about 200, a little over 250 major brands around the world right now. But our ventures team was started in which to work with earlier stage of who will be these next brands, right? Who will be the next company that replaces something or is a market leader in the space. It's a great way in which our design, business strategy, communications, copywriting teams, pitch deck design teams, everyone can work with early stage founders and bring that innovation, that knowledge we have from working with large global brands to the advantage of the companies that we invest in or go through the Leap Venture Studio programs. On that, I'll add, why join the Leap Venture Studio? Well, number one, I know a lot of founders are looking to raise money, and it shouldn't be the only reason you think about the Venture Studio. Money is might sound like a big part when you're a founder of anything, but it is a small part of all the things in which we bring to the table. We do offer, as part of this, $200,000 in funding for a percentage of equity in your company. And each one of these as well depends on the stage of your company's at and the other investments you have. And if you're raising from a note or a convertible, equity document, whatever it might be, we're very open to seeing how those things work. Well, the other thing that we do, I mentioned briefly before, was we bring an RJ services package. So we build a 4 to 8 person team, depending on the needs of each company. And we build a team that works alongside of you on the things you need done. So think of an extension of your team of what our agency would do for you. And we work together with you to help to figure that out and to provide those deliverables. So we do things from user experience design to business strategy to customer onboarding, user journeys, marketing strategy and planning, you name it. We have a lot of things we can offer. The biggest thing here, as well, as Rachel talked about how large the organization is, and Isabel, mentioned about how many organizations, they interact with an impact. It's wild around the world, but it's access to the Michelson team, Mars Petcare team that Rachel can help make introductions to, and find the right person based on your business that might be able to help you. And the RGA Ventures team. So it's not just who is on our team and who's working on your project, but we actually can tap into other resources. After years of doing this, we have a pretty amazing team of mentors from the pet care industry across the world. And a lot of ex-founders, or current founders that have also been building or built things that we can also reach into to see who else should you know? How would this work? A lot of large retailers and brands globally as well. Something that probably didn't, you might have not considered when you thought about this program was the cohort of other people you're going to get to work with. It's quite magical in every cohort we have, the connections made between the founders in each group. And not only just in this cohort that'll happen here in Europe, but the cohort of other entrepreneurs that are part of the Leap family. It just keeps opening up. And it's really amazing to see how people find ways to work together, to launch business partnerships together, or to help make introductions for one another into places they weren't familiar with. As I said, each experience on this studio is unique to each company. This is not a one type fits all scenario. We actually kind of run a bespoke program where we have a path. We're working on certain things with certain founders and certain companies. And again, like a lot of studios out there, but and maybe pretty even more so, we've been doing this for a long time, is a lot of in-kind services and discounts. So a lot of companies come to us to find whoever it might be. It could be a service provider. You need a new lawyer, you need a new, designer, you need a new Amazon hosting system, Shopify, whatever it might be. If you haven't used them, we can reach out and help you find access to these things, in-kind services or discounts. But there's a lot of reasons. Like, it's not just the money. I just like to stress that. You'll find the benefits stretch beyond that first check.
All right, thank you, Dylan. So a little bit about the timeline. The applications opened last week and they're closing on June 23rd. So you still have plenty of time to get your application in. It's on Typeform this year, which is an easy platform to use. You can jump in and start working on the application and come back to it. We also recommend saving your responses in a separate document so you have that for future applications. And it's an easy way to go back and look at the information you shared with us originally. So in mid-July, we'll have the top 20 companies pitch, and then the startups will be selected by August 9th. The program will begin on September 26th. We'll be in London for a week together, working out of the RGA office. And then the program will conclude on December 15th with a demo day presentation. If you're curious to see what demo day looks like, the video from Cohort 5 is still up on our YouTube channel. And it's great to learn more about those companies and see what that format looks like. So a little bit about what the 3 months of the program look like. The first month is the most intensive because one, we're in person together for 1 week, but also because we're really figuring out exactly what you need in the next 12 months and the best way to cater the program to you. So it's about 30 hours per week. I'd say a little bit less than that, but focused on developing specific learning plans for your company, connecting with mentors and your fellow cohort members like Dylan was talking about, and then developing that plan with MFA, Mars Petcare, and RGA Ventures. The second month is when we transition into more virtual programming. It's about 10 hours per week with weekly webinars and cohort peer presentations. You actually present to each other and share things that you've learned from founding your company. You'll have the opportunity to meet one-on-one with mentors. You'll work on that services project with RGA Ventures, and we'll have ongoing office hours. And then the third month picks up a little bit more as we prepare for demo day. So you'll have the same continued virtual programming, and we will begin implementing the services project and then working on your pitch deck and your pitch for demo day, and then making sure you're set to leave the program, but also continue your relationship with us. And this is just the beginning of us working with you. So this is our amazing portfolio so far of 33 companies. We're really proud of all of the companies that have gone through the program that we still work with today that are doing really amazing things. We've had 2 acquisitions, over 5 cohorts, and all companies are still growing and raising money and doing a huge amount of impact on the pet care market today. We want to point out the 5 companies in our cohort that are European. For some reason, one of them is not loading. Oh, there we go. So these are the 5 companies that we've invested in Europe and the UK already. So Barkaboo is in Spain, Doggo in Germany, Wolf Together in Greece, and the Pack and Project Blue in the UK. Really varied as far as sector within the pet care industry. All went through I think all cohorts 1 through 4, so across years, and we've really learned a lot about the European pet care market from working with these companies, and we've had a huge amount of interest in expanding there and continuing to support companies focused on this market. So that is why we are expanding into Europe this next year. You do not have to be based in Europe to be in this program, but you do have to be focused on launching and growing your focus for your customers within Europe to go through this program. You'll get the most out of it because we'll be sharing and making connections with experts focused on this market with deep experience and helpful advice that they can share. All right, and pass it to Rachel to talk about who we're looking for.
Yeah, so this is a very common question we get, which is, what stage company is the right stage company for Leap Venture Studio, but also, who are we looking for in terms of a great pet care startups to work with? And so the couple of things, based on entrepreneur, company, and then also some key points here that I'll kind of go over. So entrepreneurs, we're really looking for somebody who's really engaged and wants to be a part of an accelerator program. Accelerator programs can be demanding in terms of time, and you do have to be there and participate a lot, but that, to Dylan's earlier point of all the wonderful people you get to meet throughout the program, it's super important that you're present and engaged and excited about that. And so that's something I would point out as really important, is just motivation and commitment. The second is coachability. So, you're going to get a lot of advice and feedback throughout the program on how to adapt and grow your company and really start to set yourself up for success at the next stage. It does require a bit of, adaptability, a bit of flexibility on what is the right way to move forward from here? What can we help you with? And I think coachability is just a really great thing for any entrepreneur to have as they go, into the future, but definitely into an accelerator program. In terms of companies, we're definitely looking for companies that have potential growth and profit. We are making an investment, so we're very interested in seeing how any of your business models can, grow and scale and adapt to the current pet care ecosystem. We're also very committed to both the pet care impact and diversity, equity, and inclusion commitment, meaning your company has to showcase how it improves the world for pets and creates a better world for pets. And secondly, we are very committed to making sure that the world is more inclusive to all types of pet parents, all types of pet parent backgrounds and experiences. And so we are very committed to making sure that pet technology also represents a variety of different backgrounds, experiences, and different walks of life. And so that is why we're also committed to our DE&I commitment. And so we're interested to see how you as a founder are thinking about that as well, and how you're building your company accordingly. A couple other things that we're interested in. So for this particular program, as it's been mentioned, this is a program focused on the European pet care market. So what does that mean? That means that either your company is based in Europe and you're looking to scale across the continent, or you're outside of Europe and immediately looking to go to market in the European ecosystem. Those are the two sort of categories we're interested in. Startups have achieved some level of customer attraction. So one of the ways I like to phrase this, which isn't perfect, but it is something that gets the point across, is we need to know that there's a there, meaning that there has to be some sort of key metric that is, that either is showing up in demand, it's showing up in the market. There's some reason why your company needs to exist and come to market. And we're seeing that through some of your traction data points. That's something that we really need to see as part of your application. We're open to tech-enabled companies from a variety of stages. We have taken companies as late as Series A. And some of those companies are really looking for access to our connections and ecosystem, and we can really make a difference for companies even as late as Series A. We are open to both B2B and B2C business models. There has to be, this is something important too, there has to be a large enough team by the time the program starts. So by September, it doesn't have to be by May, right? Or by June, by the application deadline, but there does have to be at least more than one person working on the solution by the time the program starts. And that's simply because, as I mentioned, the program takes some time, right? It's going to allow you to grow as a founder, allow you to make a lot of connections. And in the interim, your company still needs to keep running. And so it's best if there's more than one person on the team by the time the program starts at the very least. We'd love to see cat-focused startups. Cat is an underserved market. There are cats out there looking for solutions and cat parents out there looking for solutions as well. And so if you're focused on cats, and you can be focused on dogs and cats, but if you do have a cat-specific solution, we'd love to hear from you and learn more about if we can be helpful. And then the last note is that we are not open to CBD companies or companies with CBD product lines. So even if it's not a core focus of your solution, but you do have a product line that's focused on CBD, unfortunately, we cannot work with you at this point in time. That being said, there are the free programs that we have open, like the Slack group and things like that, where we can continue to support you in other ways, but those companies are not open for the studio. And then I think I have some examples of companies as well. Okay, awesome. So here's some companies that have actually made it into our program. And so we're not just making this up, but here's some different scenarios that we can give you a sense of, which, is this program the right fit for you? And maybe you might identify with one of these companies. So company A was pre-launched, had raised $0 in funding to date, was a team of 2 co-founders, and was focused on sustainability and science-backed product. So sustainability is something we're also very interested in. We do believe that we do believe that being a pet parent is, creating an impact on the planet. We know that to be true. We're interested in helping reduce the carbon paw print in the world. And so we do want to, create more sustainable products. And so that was something that was really interesting about this company in particular. The founders also had some specific industry experience, and they had done a good amount of customer development and research so that we did know that there was an opportunity available. Company B was early revenue, had almost 10,000 per month in MRR, had raised 800K in funding, and consisted of 3 co-founders and 8 full-time employees. So they were well established, and had millions of downloads, and were already, gaining a lot of traction, but we were really coming in to help this company scale, right? And so, as I mentioned, we can help later stage companies as well. You can have a lot of traction and have a lot of growth already, and perhaps like we're here coming in to help you scale to that next level. And we do have the flexibility to be able to help companies in different ways, as Dylan mentioned, through our, the bespoke aspects of our program. And then company C is repeating revenue. They had 50 to 250K per month, $0 in funding, solo founder with 15 part-time staff. So this company was really focusing on, just delivering a really great service, and had, revenue positivity. And we were able to come in and help this company scale, and look a little bit more towards a venture scalable model, and continue to help the company grow to the point of, I believe that company, if I'm not mistaken, has also had some success even, at a later stage as well. And so, we work with companies across all 3 different stages and different types. Most common problems and errors. I think, Dylan, were you going to chat a little bit about this through the application?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the one thing, I think Isabel pointed out, it says built on type form for the application. There is a cheat code in here. If you don't see it, I always recommend to copy all the questions down first and work them on a separate, notepad or Word document, whatever you have, so you can work with them online before you submit them, because once you submit things to type form, they're there. There's no changing them in that point in time. So at the bottom, I think, Isabel, correct, the questions, or Rachel, the arrow at the bottom, you can actually arrow through without answering all the questions in your first pass to get them. I think they look at that. I think this starts with an email entry, and then you can go through the questions that way. But work them offline. Answer all the questions. If you don't know how to answer one of the questions, you got the 3 of us here. You can Slack us, you can email us, you can reach out to us and say, I'm not quite sure how to answer this question, or I don't know if there's an answer to this question yet. And let's talk about it before. Because that's the important thing. When we see a gap, right, and we've got hundreds and hundreds of applications to look through, and people have answered things completely or taken a pass at something and answering it, it kind of stands out. You're like, why didn't they know that? So make sure to answer them all. Keep the deck short. That's a simple one. Most of you probably have a 5 to 15 page deck. Keep it short. Remember, we're going to look through a bunch of these, and if there's interest from that short deck, we're going to get in deeper with you, and we're going to dive in more, and we're going to hear more of the story, and we're going to ask more questions. Look for how does your business model get simpler? That's something that, for us, when things get too complex, they're really hard to explain, not only to us, but they're hard to explain to a consumer or a partner, which you might go after. So we really want to look out for things that are too complicated. And inconsistent logic, meaning, you're doing revenue projections or you're doing sales projections, and the math just doesn't work, or the logic of the business of how you're structuring it, we can't see how that actually comes together. So read through those. Even better, sometimes we're all too close to our business. Have someone else look at the answers to your questions that might not know 100% how your business works, and then, get some feedback from there. Understand the stage you're in. A lot of people, might undervalue or guess the stage of the company they're in. They might think, oh, we're pre-Series A, or we're really struggling with revenue, but you might not realize what the rest of the market is doing. So understand that stage against others that are out there. Understand your value proposition. Why should you be here? Why should you exist? What problem are you solving for this industry in a different way than someone else is? And the customer base. It's really understand who are those customers, from the perfect, the ideal, the early customer. What do they look like, right? They're cat owners that live in these 3 countries that drive X, whatever it might be. There could be a very unique customer base that could be narrow at first, but you can then show how narrow gets to wide. Or it might be a rich enough customer base that it doesn't have to go wide, depending on what you're doing. And, veterinary and the diagnostic world and others, we look at that, in other ways. Understand the competitors. Like, there's always a competitor. If there isn't a competitor in your market, if no one else is doing what you're doing yet, there probably isn't a market yet. That's just, lessons learned over the years. There's always someone that's, going for a share of the wallet. You're saying, hey, I'm building a new pet food company that's made from X and no one else is doing this. Well, someone's still competing for the wallet and the spend of that consumer. And so understand what that looks like in the competitive market, and what your advantages, why someone's going to choose you. Talk to some early customers or talk to some target audiences to really understand that. And then, we say is here, like, underestimating the effort or resources required. How much will this take to do what you envision doing or what you are doing now? And look, I think Rachel showed you in some of those. We had some solo founders, and being a solo founder for any of you, we know is not easy. But some people are really good at it, and some people are really good at it, but still struggle at it. So understand what other resources you're going to require to make that business stand up.
All right. And just a couple more slides here before we go to questions. This is a little bit of the greater Michelson Found Animals team that you'd be working with, our CEO, Brett Yates, and Phil Kim, the managing director of our impact investment fund. On the Mars Petcare side, Rachel's joined by Ben Jacobs and Guillaume from Mars Petcare in Brussels, who will be really supporting us as we enter the European market. And then joining Dylan is Dave Isaacs, our creative director, who works on the pitch decks and presentations with you for Demo Day, and Jonathan Bradley from the RJ Ventures team as well. So connect with us to make sure that you're up to date with all of the events coming up, and you get your application in on time. So you can find us on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, the Slack channel that we've been mentioning. We also have a monthly newsletter. If you are not connected with us already and have questions about joining the Slack channel, definitely let us know in the chat while we're doing questions. So with that, I'll stop sharing my screen and we can jump into Q&A. And feel free to unmute yourself and chime in, or you can ask questions in the chat if you're more comfortable with that.
Hey, Dylan, Isabel, Rachel. So this entire presentation is not applicable to me. I'm US based. Yet I still wanted to join because I've started a company about 18 months ago. And, I can tell you that I've had one-off conversations with each Dylan, Rachel, and Isabel. And it's been a great group to work with and just get to know. So really today I was just joining because I'm curious, but good to see you guys out there expanding. Looking forward to the conversation when it comes back to the US.
Thanks,
and good luck, everyone.
We'll be back, Jeff. Don't
Thank
worry.
you.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. It's great to see you.
Hey guys,
Oh.
Isabel,
Oh.
Rachel, Dylan. Oh, sorry. Can I? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm just gonna go. Nice to see you. Thanks a lot for the presentation. I have just two simple questions. So one is just a clarification. I think the website says that the deadline is 26th of June, but your slide said June 23rd. Can you clarify what is the deadline for application? Is it 26th or 23rd?
It is the 26th.
The 26th.
Nice
Got it.
catch.
It wasn't intended. I just wanted to understand what's the deadline. Yeah. The second question is, can you clarify? So this whole like Leap Venture Studio is a partnership, right, between MFA, RGA, and Mars Petcare. Can you clarify particular roles of each, I guess, company in the program? So I do understand, that the Mars Petcare, and RGA totally different business. Like, what roles do you guys take in the program?
So Mars Petcare and Michelson Found Animals are 50-50 partners in the program. And so both of us came together organically and saw that there was underinvestment in the space, and we're both interested in setting up an accelerator program. So the two of us came together knowing that we have very distinct but strong skill sets within the pet care and animal welfare industry. Michelson Found Animals being a nonprofit foundation that works with shelters and rescues, across the world and runs a wide range of policy and investment programs. And then Mars Petcare being the global pet care brand with brands, across food and veterinary and other areas. So we saw our partnership as very unique and distinct, but we are 50-50 across, how we run the program. Rachel and I are literal representation of that because we run the program together equally and bring in both stakeholders from both of our organizations. We brought in RGA Ventures because they are the global, leading digital agency. We knew that they had skill sets and connections, particularly Dylan, who are invaluable to this program and bring so much to the table for the startups. So they come in, like Dylan mentioned, sort of as an extension of your company and work on these services projects with you and prepare you for demo day. But Dylan is the managing director of the studio. So he is, day to day, a great connection for all the needs that you have. And Rachel and I are right there with him. So hopefully that clarifies how both the studio came about, but also sort of the roles that we take. But I'm happy to, Dylan and Rachel, I'm sure can provide more information as well.
Yeah, thanks, Isabel. That's great. And I would just add that I would say there's probably 3 ways that Mars supports companies throughout the studio. And sort of to Isabel's point, like myself and Isabel and Dylan, we're all, sort of representatives of our companies, right? So it's our job to go get those resources and make that happen for you. But there are 3 ways as far as Mars is concerned. One is through mentorship. So we set up these opportunities for mentors to go and speak with each company one-on-one. And that's a great way to get really, custom feedback for your company and also get a chance to ask some very specific questions to specific people. The second is, kind of a little bit furthering that. So there might be a really key connection for you to make in a specific division, in a specific category within a division. And so it's my job to go and find the right people for you to speak with if that's something that, it is critical for your growth. And then the third way is through bringing in speakers. And so throughout the program, we're bringing in, different speakers, different thought leaders, and that gives the startups a chance to get to know people within the Mars ecosystem. All 3 of these really do, right? And so that you have opportunities to be able to follow up and be able to grow and foster those relationships from that point forward. And so it's our job to sort of be the key stakeholder who goes and brings in all the resources you need, pending on the biggest needs for your company. And so we have that conversation in the very beginning, logistically speaking, saying like, hey, here's a one-on-one with Mars. What do you need? And we try to make as much of that happen as possible. Mars is a very big company. As I mentioned, we're close to 100,000 people. And so it's going to take some time to find the right people at times, but then we spend the next couple of months trying to find the right people for you to speak to. And then we do another check-in about halfway through the program as well. And you'll do the same with Michelson and with RGA also. I don't know, Dylan, do you want to speak a little bit about how RGA is?
Hey, Rachel's an excellent tracker and hunter to find those resources. I mean, as vast and large as this is for each individual vertical, and big corporations, people move around and new people come in and people leave, and that in itself is just a pretty massive undertaking that she does to make sure to connect the network of the founders. Fortunately, there's a lot of high visibility of Leap across the Mars organization. So a lot of people are willing to jump in and take things on. We've seen some pretty great connections come of that, right? Even just as folks that are mentors, people that are making a product and, they can't give away everything that Mars has researched and looked at, but they can give a lot of direction to some founders of, where to go or how to think about things. So those have been great. The other one I think that, both myself or all three of us activate is a network of people greater than us. We look at, talking about Europe, European pet retailers over there that, we're having active conversations with, animal researcher groups over there, welfare groups over there, all the different areas in which we can activate. And people are always really happy to see, because we're a great, I'd say, quality filter in many cases of finding the right people at the right times to put into their ecosystem. And, many of these people only have time to look at a certain amount of opportunities in any given time. So there's a big open arms for us when we bring people forward to them. I think like the other side of it is, the investment side, just to talk about, like, we all invest independently. So you look at us as a power of three. So in the past, I've built, special purpose vehicles where we come under one name. In this case, we actually all invest independently and manage our investments independently, which is great because you get to work with three different investment teams. You get to get feedback from the three different groups, not just one point of contact that opens up additional doors for you. We all work across the same paper, the same documents, right, and the same ways in and out with you. So we all have the same process. There's not three different things going on at once. We really work well together as a team in that way. So, I think part of it is, is like with all this network and the reach and the connections that we have and the size of our organizations, I guess a superpower as well as we know more people than we should. At the same point in time, when we hear things from founders, we can double check them pretty fast. So just be careful, when you're telling us things, because it's a small world. It might be a big world, but it's a small world when it comes down to it, of, investors or others out there. So we can rapidly solicit and get feedback of people that are just adjacent to the space even.
Thanks a lot. Very insightful. Thanks.
Thank you, Dylan, Rachel, and Isabel for the information. That's been really helpful. I'm kind of in the same position as Jeff, where I'm currently looking to get into the US and Canadian markets, but was just interested to hear like when I should keep a lookout for the kind of the next program, or how frequently do you guys do these?
That's a wonderful question. Thanks, Hillary. And so this year, we're running 2 studio programs in 2022. We will definitely run another sort of global, out of, the North American time zone Leap Venture Studio program in 2023. We don't have applications, an open date set for that just yet, but I would keep your eyes peeled for the fall. I think it's probably a pretty fair time to start to see that come across your radar. And until then, as Dylan mentioned, we're here to help the ecosystem. So if there's something that you think that we can help with, it would be great to connect on Slack and learn more about what you're building, and for us to get to know you ahead of time as well. We do get to know a lot of our companies in the ecosystem. Michael and I have chatted before, and Jeff and I have chatted before, and so many others. And so there's a lot of opportunity for us to chat and get to know your company more and see if there's ways we can support you in the interim prior to the program starting. But yeah, I would keep your eyes peeled for fall, or even getting close to winter of this year. And then of course we'll run another program in 2023.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rachel, and I'll definitely keep in touch with you guys. It seems like a great network.
Yeah, and Hillary, if you know any founders in Europe that you've met through your ways, you can always let them know as well.
Will do. Yeah, thanks, Dylan.
Julian, Fabrizio, Yassine, any questions?
Hi, yeah. Can I ask you a question? Hi, everyone. I'm from Italy in Rome, and where startups for Petcare is still kind of a new thing. Like Italy is always behind innovation, but we want to change things. We just completed an incubator at Rome Business School, and we have done validation, and we got now an MVP. My question is, how important is to have early revenue to be to apply for such program? Like, is it worth it for us to apply, or are we too early now? Because we basically are a mixture of a telemedicine startup, and we also do research. So for us, generating early revenues is a big challenge, and we're more looking for funds to support our research. And we did have a couple of customers, but we literally just started now. So is it too early for us to apply for this program? Or like we would love to apply and share with you our business idea.
I don't think it's ever too early to apply. I mean, quite honestly, like we don't know what we're going to find when we start talking. And I think, you know, if anything, it's also a great exercise for you that we get feedback,
Okay.
you know, and that could end up as a great path into a fellowship or a boot camp or academy program that we have going on. Or it could just be from a networking standpoint as well into, hey, there's a great opportunity to work with Fabrizio and Lampovet, and here's something that we could do around this. So,
Right. Okay.
Definitely a good thing to do.
Thanks. Thank you. And you said it would be 1 week in person in London, isn't it? Cool.
Week of September 26th will be in London as of now. And, you know, TBD, we might do a final week. We're trying to decide that. And I think, you know, we just look at the state of the world each and every day and try to figure out what tomorrow is going to be. So
yeah, you can come to Rome if you want.
It sounds beautiful.
Cool. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Fabrizio.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dylan, Isabel, and Rachel for the presentation. Julian from France, Paris. Maybe just a quick question, just to clarify one point in terms of, I would say, time and geographical allocation. What does it mean to participate into this program in terms of geographical allocation? Do we have to be based mostly in London to be able to follow the 3 months program, or we can do it from anywhere in Europe?
That's a great question.
Yeah. Go ahead, Rachel.
Yeah, sorry, Dylan. That's a great question, Julian. Thank you for asking that. You don't have to be anywhere in particular. We do, you know, want everyone to be together in person in London because that provides a lot of networking opportunities and a lot of really great, you know, opportunities to get to know some of our mentors and investors we've met in the ecosystem and all of that. But you can be based anywhere in Europe. And 10 of the weeks will definitely be virtual. There's just that 1 week in person in the beginning and that potential tentative week in December. But as Dylan mentioned, we won't be able to decide that until we get much closer, simply because of the state of the world right now. And so, yeah, you can be based anywhere. In terms of time zones, so you may have noticed that we've been talking about like we're here and not there sort of thing. And so we are all on the West Coast. But this type of time frame would be when we'd be running a lot of our programming. So if this type of time of day works for you, that would be how a lot of the virtual programming where everyone's together would be running around this time of day. But we're going to schedule mentor office hours and some other things that are available to you even earlier in the day and so on and so forth. So you'll still have lots of time to run your company, but you'll also be spending a couple hours with us a week, usually around this time frame.
That's in the RGA services team is based upon what we need to build or do for you. Is going to be selected from a global group, but they're used to working across global time zones. So our team, you know, wakes and works where needed. So I think that's the same you'll find with Isabel and Rachel. We're really, you know, used to working with founders in Europe, and we're really building this to make sure to cater them. I mean, I'm sure the three of us would love to stay between London, Paris, and Rome for 3 months, but you know, we do have lives we have to return to back here, just like you do back in Paris.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much for the answer.
You seen any questions at all, or?
No, thank you so much. I have got answers to all my questions. Maybe I may ask a very small question. This 5%, is it equity? Is it diluted or non-diluted?
I mean, 5% is you know, is a good size early stage startup. So, you've somehow convinced 4 other people to join you on this journey. Congratulations. I think that the big thing is to look at, who are those people? What stage are you at? And are you generating revenue? Are you generating services? Is the product, in what level of completion? We know that products are never completed. It's a never-ending journey. We would really like to understand that. So, no, we've had solo founders to, larger teams. It just depends on, where you're at. And if you think, I guess the other side is, so it's not just about us helping, helping you. Like, are you ready to work with us? I think is a question Rachel put out there, like, because it is a little bit of a commitment, but we try to be very aware of your building a company and you have people, limited resources, limited time. So how do we maximize and make best use of all those things?
Dylan, I think Yasin also wanted to know about the equity, if it's diluted or not diluted. Yasin, is that correct? Did I hear that in your question?
Yeah, that's yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Equity, dilutive or non-dilutive. I mean, any equity is going to be dilutive. In a sense, we're going to invest in your company. So this is not just a check, right? Non-equity check. Like, we will want to invest as investors into your company in some format. So that can be a safe note, that can be an equity investment, that can be a lot of different things. Convertible note.
And the great thing about that is you now have big Petcare players on your cap table, and our job, is not just during the studio. It's not just to help people prepare for the studio. It's also to care for our portfolio. So we still support our portfolio companies very thoroughly and help them with anything they need later stage. We're actually seeing several of our portfolio companies tomorrow, to support them as well in their continued growth, for example. And there's lots of ways that we can continue to support. So it's a good thing to have us on your cap table, and we are definitely taking that space on a cap table very seriously, making sure we're providing value.
That's, depending on your raise, I mean, we might not be the biggest check as you continue to grow and raise, but I think that, our groups will be some of the most impactful long-term for you. We're just not, hey, let's do this studio and then we'll see you later. Good luck. We're in there for the long run, for the founders that, 5 cohorts ago, we made our first investments in. We're still talking to on a regular basis today and helping them open doors as needed.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks a lot. Like, there are so many companies in medtech sector, but this animal sector, there is not so many.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for investing in this area.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Great. If there's not more questions, I just put our email in the chat. This is a way to reach all 3 of us. And if you have any additional questions about the application, email us at leapventurestudio@gmail.com. Like Dylan mentioned, we're also on the Slack channel all day, every day. So we're always there to answer questions as well. And if there's anything else, be sure to get your applications in by June 26th. And this video will be up on YouTube as well, if you want to send it to any additional team members or any other startups that might be interested in joining the program. So thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll end the call there.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.